Hello, my name is Kyle Richard, and I am the program coordinator for the Eli J. and Phyllis N. Segal Citizen Leadership Program. October is National Disabilities Awareness Month and National Disability Employment Awareness Month. This video, I want to talk about specifically one of the many neurodiverse cognitive differences that affect how we work, interact with colleagues, and manage our day-to-day lives and responsibilities. Specifically, I want to talk about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. Did you know that 6.1 million children up to the age of 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD? And by some accounts, ADHD still affects 4 to 5% of US adults. Generally speaking, this condition can affect anyone regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender. For something that is as prevalent in adulthood as ADHD, you may know someone with it. And if you don't, hi. As an adult who was diagnosed with ADHD at 37, there's a lot of stigma that comes externally from society due to the lack of understanding of what the condition is, as well as internally due to how it affects people who have it. So let me explain what it means to even have ADHD and how it affects me in the workplace and how you may be going through similar things. A reminder, I am not a doctor, and this is meant to inform rather than diagnose. So if any of you feel this is relevant to you, please seek advice from a medical professional. So what is ADHD? ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder as defined by the DSM, in which the part of your brain that manages executive function is slower to or never fully develops. These can display themselves in 3 ways: inattention, hyperactivity, or for those lucky enough to have it, both. For neurotypical brains, their executive functions help them manage tasks, hold short-term memory, regulate emotions, response inhibition, shifting tasks, stuff most adults need to survive. So in essence, despite the name, we don't actually have a deficit in anything. We have trouble regulating our attention and emotions. So instead of thinking of it like a bucket that just doesn't have enough water in it, think of it like a bucket that randomly turns into a sieve or is too full of water and someone's just running around wildly with it. So this can make things like homework, deadlines, stuff we need to do in our lives rather difficult. As a kid, I was constantly called a space cadet, highly imaginative, even hurtful things like being lazy or not meeting my potential. These were all due to living in a world in which my executive function couldn't meet the needs of my school and later my work. But because my grades and behavior turned out all right, I was never tested for it. The rigidity of the school schedule and teacher interactions kept me in check. However, as an adult, as work was more on me and consequences were solely my responsibility, I found it challenging. For starters, I've always had trouble fully sitting at my desk and not pivoting. This is due to my brain being restless, and I've also had trouble keeping track of emails and deadlines because frankly, I do not have the short-term memory capable of holding on to conversations I've had with my bosses, colleagues, or even my wife when she tells me to go to the store to grab milk and eggs. Also, lack of impulse control means I'm saying yes to everything, even if I don't have the space. Also, it affects my internal perception of time, so being late is definitely on the table. So if all of this seems exhausting to you, that's because it is. Many people with ADHD feel like a failed version of normal, a square peg in a round hole, incapable of meeting the stringent standards of adult life. We tend to make a lot of mistakes and are frequently careless. So from the time we're little and throughout our lives, we're told to feel bad about things we can't control. And that thought gets internalized and digested by us, making us wonder what jobs we can take or things that we can do that won't make us feel so bad about ourselves. Here's why I want you to take hope from what I'm saying. First, ADHD is the most studied neurodevelopmental disorder in the world and is treatable through a combination of behavioral cognitive therapy, medications, and lifestyle changes. That means once you know how your brain works, you can find ways to work around your unique needs. Secondly, having ADHD actually has its benefits. We're more likely to take risks and start our new projects. We tend to be highly empathetic, and we are super creative in thinking outside of the box. However, the same disenfranchisement that affects women and people of color additionally compact what already makes things difficult already for a neurotypical brain. So not everyone can reap the benefits of those characteristics. Lastly, and most importantly, if this sounds like something you have or have been diagnosed with, the good news is you're not alone. We are part of a large, diverse group of people who support ourselves, advocate for a world that meets our needs, and not the other way around. So if this sounds like you, or if you have this condition, welcome to the tribe. I've left some resources below for you to take a look at, and I found these things have really helped me out. And you can, of course, reach out to me as well. Being open has really helped me out, and I hope this has done the same thing for you. Thank you.